Craig Peterhansen, board member and wish granter from Make-A-Wish, Mississippi, now joins us in the Element Wealth studios. Craig, welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. So today, April 29th, World Wish Day. Read up a little bit about the background. This all got started in 1980, right? Tell us about that. Yeah.
Yes, sir. 1980 was the very first Make-A-Wish wish granted. It was granted to a 7-year-old boy in Phoenix, Arizona, and his wish was to be a police officer. So the community rallied around and put together a very special wish that was just amazing, and it was exciting to see so many people get behind and rally behind it. And it was such a wonderful experience that it really launched Make-A-Wish after that. So in that short period of time since the very first wish, there have been wishes granted in all 50 states in the U.S. and 50 countries around the world, and over 500,000 wishes have been granted for kids that really need that support.
Wow, 500,000. Yeah, I'm looking at the story and the photo of the 7-year-old, Chris Grecius. Yeah.
Yes.
It's awesome. The photo is, and so it's great work. And it's truly a calling. How long have you been on the board?
Well, I've been associated with Make-A-Wish for 10 years.
Okay.
And I've served on the board. And from a board perspective, we kind of focus in on two areas, more strategy than other. One is, how do we reach and get awareness out to kids that have a critical illness that they have the opportunity to get a wish?
Yeah.
We want to be able to take care of all those. The other half is, how do we support it? How do we get the funds and how do we get the resources to grant those wishes that those kids desperately need?
So how do you find out about them, the children?
Yeah, the children, one is hopefully there's awareness coming from some of the natural places that they're at. So medical providers make it aware from that. They have an opportunity to be able to go to start the process and be referred into the system. Parents also network with other parents, and so they get that information there, and so they come to Make-A-Wish from other referrals from kids that have had their wish.
Well, how do you typically inform the recipient of the wish and the family? How does that usually work?
Well, once they start the process to get approved through the referral process, it gets assigned out to a wish granter out in the field. So that's been also my role for 10 years, is working with kids and families to actually go out and visit with them to start the process of what's that heartfelt wish that the kid really wants to have. What's the amazing thing that we can do? And then we work and steward them through the process, however long that may take, to make that wish come to fruition and that experience, like you saw with Chris, the joy and the excitement that happens around that wish coming true.
Yeah, it's incredible. Are there some particular qualifications or criteria that you guys look at, the board looks at, the organization looks at?
To qualify for a wish?
Yeah,
good question. We classified it under critical illness. Some of the natural things that you might expect fall in that category. So it can be cancer or leukemia associated, can be kidney transplant, heart condition. So there's a variety of conditions that can qualify. If you enter the referral process, they'll go through and work with the doctor to see if it qualifies or doesn't qualify for a wish.
I got you. How many have been granted in Mississippi?
Since that time, we said over 500,000 around the world, right? So the same time, Mississippi chapter started a little bit later. Obviously, Phoenix was the first one.
Sure.
But we've granted almost 2,500 wishes here across the state of Mississippi, which is just awesome. The flip side of it is we've got 140 kids right now in the pipeline that are waiting for their wish to happen.
Okay. And
so we need to take care of that and take care of those kids.
Can you share with us some of the memorable wishes that stick with you?
I've been blessed. I've been able to work with 72 different kids and families to personally be involved and help grant the wishes. And everyone's amazing, right? It's special because it's their wish to happen. But a couple that blow you away. One not too long ago, right here in Jackson, a boy named Abraham's wish was to of all things he could have or do or whatever, he picked that he wanted to help feed the homeless in the area. So that's pretty special when you say, you give me a wish and I want to give it to somebody else. So that kind of stays with you. But all of them are special, whether it be a kid getting a play set in the backyard, a pirate ship play set to play on, to a dog or whatever it may be, go somewhere.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
I noticed last night on the draft there was a Make-A-Wish kid that actually announced the one of the draft picks, the first-round draft pick in the NFL. So that was pretty exciting to have that. Quite an experience.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's really neat. What inspired you to get involved with the organization, Craig?
In our communities, it just feels like that the most vulnerable in our communities, we need to be reach out and trying to help. And, a family that just faces, going to the doctor and then getting a report that says, hey, your child is facing a critical condition, that's about as tough as it gets, you know. So how can we stand up and walk beside them during this very difficult time? They got so much other stuff to think about. Make-A-Wish provides that opportunity of something positive for them to look into, something to look forward to, and it's not all bad stuff. So I felt like, hey, I could have a role in doing that, the small part of making that happen. And obviously for 10 years, it's been a wonderful blessing for me.
Yeah. And so where do you get your money?
Well, that's fundraising, right? So we've got to go out and have good donors that are willing to help support the cause and walk beside these kids. We also do events. So there's, golf outings or galas or other fun type events that are typical fundraisers. We also get partnerships with some companies that want to help out. So they step up and are sponsors or supporters and assist. And then obviously individuals. So individuals that just, hey, I want to be a part of something special and help kids right here where we're at, right in our community. Yeah.
So I'm just looking at the questions that you typically pose to parents and children as well. And the first for the child, which I think is totally appropriate and relevant, what's been the toughest part about being sick? And clearly no child should ever have to deal with being ill. They need to be a child.
No, and we think adults that, that go through surgery and deal with a lot of things. Here you got these precious little bodies, 3 years old or 6-year-old or whatever, and they're in and they need a bone marrow transplant or a heart transplant or, and you think of how it just ravages those little bodies. But they're so courageous and continue to fight, and they just always impress me with their strength to push forward.
What's it like, I'm assuming you have, witnessing their joy when their wish is granted?
Yeah, it's almost beyond words, right? Because it's their special thing. And so I know with wishes, we did a shopping spree with a family and went out with them. And, Dad is a big strapping guy, kind of like Rhino, maybe a little bit here. And another, the mom, and as we were going through, both mom and dad are just, crying with joy for their child. And mom told me, this is the first time that my daughter smiled since she was diagnosed. Man. So how do you...
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing how sometimes just simple things like that can bring happiness and joy, and we often take those for granted. Yeah. We are certainly blessed to live in this country and have that opportunity to pursue happiness. But when you're sick, that can interfere with that.
Yes.
Obviously, and no child should have to deal with that. So what you guys do is try to soothe that experience of being sick.
And not only, I think a lot of people, it's kind of just a fun thing that gives them something to look forward to. My experience over 10 years, it's a lot more than that, right? Because it impacts their emotional health. It takes some of that trauma away that they have to deal with. And a lot of medical professionals say getting that wish is really a turning point for them in their medical treatment. It gives them the strength to keep fighting, to move forward.
Absolutely.
So it's really big. It really is.
Cannot underestimate that.
Yes.
Even the physicians will tell you that. It's. I don't know that they can explain it, honestly. But anyhow, Craig, thanks for coming on, representing the Make-A-Wish of Mississippi. And today is World Wish Day. 42 years since the first wish was granted in Phoenix, Arizona. Great organization. Thanks for what you do in Mississippi, Craig. We'll stay safe, and God bless you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. Middays, we'll take a break right here. We'll come right back.